Thanks so much for sending in all your pictures, and we'd like to ask you to please keep them coming. Let's move on now. Not less than 750,000 youths are expected to receive financial support from the federal government in the next 5 years to enable them establish and run agri-businesses. Now, this is the outcome of 2 programs that were launched today in Abuja by the President. They are the Youth Employment in Agriculture Program and the Fund for Agriculture Finance in Nigeria. At the launch, the President said his administration will not relent in the execution of initiatives to engage the youth. Our State House correspondent Pt.2 reports.
Unemployment among youths has been identified as one of the biggest challenges facing Nigeria today. For the President, time has come to create more jobs and lay a new foundation for Nigeria's economy to grow. Dr. Jonathan has launched several employment generation programs and is here again, this time for agriculture. He believes that diversification into agriculture will save the country from the slump in oil prices.
Since I joined office, I have worked with great determination to reverse the scores of youth unemployment in our country. That is why the Youth Employment in Agriculture Program, the one we are launching today, the YEP, is very dear to me. And I always say that the problem facing all heads of government all over the world is how to create jobs for our young people. Its overall goal is to contribute to the food security and nutrition, rural income generation, and improve livelihood for young people in our dear country.
The program is designed for Nigerian youths, targeting over 750,000 of them, and here is the vision of the President for them.
Today, looking at all these young entrepreneurs, I see a great future, a future of greener economy. For the Nigerian young men or women, those who have seen today and the ones outside there, we appreciate you, we commend you, because anything that you involve brings glory to this country.
Testimonies poured in from some of the beneficiaries of the Fund for Agriculture Finance in Nigeria.
I want to thank you, and I also want to challenge other people in the world to please look into this sector and invest, because not only are we the future, every day people ask me, how can you be a young lady and be a farmer? I tell them, this is what a farmer should look like: cool, beautiful, intelligent.
The YEP initiative is an initiative whose time has come, and it is right now that we need to invest more into agriculture. And it is so important that we keep the youth, because we are the future of this country and we are the future of now.
So far, with your effort, Mr. President, we see the future in agriculture. Thank you very much, Mr. President, for bringing us all here.
In his opening remarks, the Minister for Agriculture captured the overall goal of the Youth Employment in Agriculture Program and the Fund for Agriculture Finance. He said it is accumulation of the search of those who will help the government to grow the economy and take agriculture to the next level.
Oil prices are falling. Okay, we don't drink the oil anyway, we don't smoke the gas, but we eat food. Our population is rising. But what we want to do through this program is to create farmers that are going to be like the farmers in the United States, in Europe. Not the ones with hoes and cutlasses. I mean, we're going to support those ones to move into use of mechanized services. But we want a new generation, a different class of farmers that are going to be the ones who will be the millionaires and billionaires of tomorrow from agriculture.
The Ministry of Agriculture has mapped out over $15 million investment with the support of other world bodies like the German Development Bank and the Nigerian Sovereign Investment Authority, while the federal government has promised to create the enabling environment for the Nigerian youths to grab the opportunity. Chukwuma Onwekusi, Channels Television News.
The Senate has asked the Independent National Electoral Commission to employ all administrative means possible to ensure that internally displaced persons exercise their rights to vote in the 2015 elections. A federal lawmaker, Senator Ali Ndume, moved a motion seeking the amendment of the 2010 Electoral Act to ensure that IDPs are not disenfranchised. Our correspondent Linda Akigbe reports.
It's bad enough that these Nigerians have become refugees in their own country. that they may not be able to exercise their right to vote in the upcoming general elections. Such is the plight of thousands of internally displaced persons scattered across Nigeria and neighboring countries. The mayhem caused by Boko Haram and other terrorist groups have led these and many other Nigerians to seek solace in camps such as these. A federal lawmaker drew the attention of the Senate to the possible disenfranchisement of internally displaced persons.
You will all agree with me, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, that if elections are to be conducted in the northeast of the country, many voters will not participate because the entire area is deserted and the people are spread across refugees camps in different parts of the country. What this bill seeks, therefore, is for independent National Electoral Commission to establish special polling units for internally displaced persons in their respective camps nationwide to ensure their enfranchisement.
Although some lawmakers supported the call for internally displaced persons to exercise their rights to vote, they rejected the amendment of the Electoral Act.
I am not opposing the establishment of polling units for internally displaced persons, but I'm saying that there is no need to make a law because the Act as it is has authorized and given them the discretion so to. I do not think this particular lawmaking is going to cure what we are anticipating. This thing has to be an administrative mechanism, and that it should be a directive of the Senate of the Federal Republic of Nigeria directing INEC to, with immediate effect, set up these polling units in those displaced areas, and the committee will make sure that before election these centers have polling units rather than this law.
The Senate consequently asked INEC to make use of every administrative means possible to ensure that internally displaced persons exercise their rights to vote in the 2015 general elections.
The Department of State Security has read the Riot Act to all persons who are out to make money off the Boko Haram insurgency through fake negotiations and subversive campaigns against the federal government. The Deputy Director, Public Relations of the service, Marilyn Ogun, gave this warning in Abuja while parading 7 suspects who allegedly collected about 6 million naira from government negotiators pretending to be members of Boko Haram.
It is necessary to state here that Davis and his cohorts are amongst several other local and international groups who are out to make merchandise of the Boko Haram insurgency through concocted and fabricated stories. These subversive campaigns are also aimed at permeating and shaping political discourse, as well as challenge the integrity of our national security and stir discontent amongst Nigerians and our esteemed allies in the war against terror. We want to reiterate once again that this service, and indeed all security services, are committed to bringing to justice all who sponsor or partake in the publication of subversive reports against this country. We shall not rest on our oars until our country is rid of all unwholesome activities.
Well, let's shift focus now to the oil workers' strike and the planned meeting between the federal government and the oil workers aimed at resolving the ongoing warning strike by the unions has been postponed till Thursday, December the 18th. An official of the Ministry of Labour in Abuja, where the meeting was scheduled to hold, told our correspondent that the shift in date was owing to unavoidable circumstances. The oil workers on the platform of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria began a 3-day warning strike across the country on Monday, crippling activities in the nation's capital, Abuja. Their grievances, according to them, include unfair labor practices, non-passage of the Petroleum Industry Bill, and the non-implementation of agreements reached between the government and the unions. Now, while efforts are being made to ensure that the warning strike embarked on by the oil workers does not continue, The action is gradually taking its toll on motorists in parts of the country, and this is coming as the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation insists that the oil workers' strike will not affect the distribution and sale of petroleum products to the public. The spokesman for the corporation, Mr. Uhi Alegbe, also gave the assurance that the dispute will soon be resolved. Now, the Ogun State Governor Ibikunle Amosun has announced Mrs. Yetunde Ononuga from Ijebu-Igbo, Ogun East Senatorial District as his running mate in the 2015 governorship election. 54-year-old Mrs. Ononuga is to take the place of Prince Segun Adeshegun, who is the current deputy governor of the state. At a meeting held in the state capital, Abeokuta, the governor explained that her nomination will give all sections of the state good representation. Mrs. Ononuga is the current Director of Finance and Administration in the Lagos State Ministry of Environment. When the news at 10 returns, PDP leader in the Southwest challenges former President Olusegun Obasanjo on his views on President Goodluck Jonathan. Please stay with us.